Hey folks, welcome to another Three Stooges review.
And this time it's Three Little Beers.
This is the last film of 1935 that the Stooges did with Columbia Pictures. And,
The last of the first disc.
Yeah.
So we're finally...
got off the first disc. We haven't even finished the first volume yet,
know.
but the first disc of the first volume we finally got to. This short is interesting in that the opening credits are a little bit different. They actually credit Bud Jameson,
who has a very small
role in this one, and he's had bigger roles in other earlier episodes, so it's odd to give him a special credit here.
And also the president of Columbia got some kind of
Harry
credit.
Conn is credited. Maybe the Stooges are these shorts are really becoming popular, and
catching on. So everybody kind of wanted to have their name on this.
Yeah, something like that.
So we're just speculating.
So Three Little Beers was written by someone named Clyde Bruckman, first-time writer for the Stooges so far, and he seems to have taken the high society ball as well. This one's a little bit different, as we'll discuss in the plot, but there's no doubt that the Stooges are mixing it up with a higher class society.
Yeah.
Certainly much higher than themselves.
Well, I mean, they're delivery men, and then they become golfers.
Okay, I give this one a 2 for slapstick comedy.
And you know what? I give it a 3, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
This one gets a 3 from me because I like when Moe doesn't bully just for the sake of bullying, which I've said a million times. And this one here is right up that alley. So that's why I give it a 3, because I really enjoy watching these guys act rather than getting slapped around so much. When they need to get slapped, that's fine.
Yeah, I give it a 2 because there's not a lot of physical gags that work. There is a lot of physical things going on
But
in this
this one's
episode.
funny.
It is funny, but it's not. I don't find it hilarious.
Too
No,
long.
but you know what else too? I just realized. When they get to that point where all of a sudden they're all destroying everything, that is really funny, especially the way it unfolds and the delivery of it.
Right. And that's what you said. You even paused it to say, this is brilliant. We have this.
So I guess I ought to give it a 3 for slapstick.
I agree.
So I changed my mind. For dialogue, I give it a 3.
I give it a 3 too.
This one is very dialogue driven. It's funny because there is a lot of physical comedy, but the physical comedy manifests through the decisions that they make and the conversations about what it is that they're supposed to be doing here, and we'll get to the plot in a second.
Yep.
Would you basically agree with that?
I don't have much to say about the dialogue. I personally probably enjoy this one more than he does. I like this. But I always have liked this one. Because we go from workers to hoi polloi, which, again, in my opinion, if you have the Stooges working, you can't go wrong. If you have the Stooges mixing with the high society, you can't go wrong. This episode,
if you have the Stooges in a position of responsibility, you're gonna get comedy. If you have the Stooges in a position where they have to mix with people higher up on the societal rung than them, you're gonna get comedy.
Right. Okay, move on.
There's no extra point for unintentional humor. The plot, I give the plot a 2. Why do we give the plot a 2? Give the plot a 2. I'm not sure if that mark is accurate. The plot involves the Stooges being delivery men for a brewery. They find out that all the employees are invited to a golf tournament, and their first delivery of the day is to the company's golf course. So they decide to take that opportunity to practice golf. Why they didn't just get the Stooges to the golf tournament, I don't know. But this is how they decided to do it, and you basically have the same thing. You get the golf tournament introduced, and then they end up on the golf field. So we have to explain why we gave it 2 instead of a 3.
I'm not sure.
I mean, basically, the Stooges crash the golf club. They certainly don't show up and play a few rounds of golf. They do the antithesis of playing golf. They
Right.
literally end up destroying the course. I guess
The
you
plot
gotta give it
is,
a 3.
I think the plot is a 3.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, we're back to this again. We're afraid to give this one all high marks because we don't want to say this is one of our favorite ones. But maybe Three Little Beers is one of our
Yeah.
favorite ones.
And the supporting cast, we were drinking last night. I don't know what the hell's wrong with this. As much as the supporting cast doesn't have a huge role to play in this short, they are all interesting to me. When I
Right.
think back to every time the Stooges interact with other cast members or the cast members are on camera by themselves, I feel like I'm interested in what they're saying and,
That's right.
and what's going on and
Yeah.
how and the things that they're and the exposition that they're going through. So the supporting cast gets a 3. I don't know why I gave it a 2, and I don't even want to do this review saying these mix-ups, but you know what? That's just the way it is. I don't know.
I guess they get a 3 because I agree with you.
However,
Huh?
for the performances of the Stooges,
Now that's a different story.
they only get 2s from me all the way down. Now, you gave Moe
I gave Moe
a
a 3. Moe is not a bully in this one.
He is a know-it-all, though.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
Of course, he knows nothing.
Yeah.
He doesn't know
Yeah,
anything.
he doesn't know anything.
But I think this might be the first episode where he's set up as a big know-it-all. Like, I know all about golf. And of course, the humorous thing is that he really doesn't know jack diddly about golf.
No.
I don't think he's acted quite that arrogant before. So I gave all of them 2s. This is why I got confused about my other scores. I scored the other things a little bit lower, and really the one thing that deserves average scores is the actual performances by the Stooges, because none of them, even Curly in my opinion, they're not particularly hilarious. On the one hand, yes, it's very funny. It's funny, conceptually funny. Like funny that's amusing, not funny ha 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 ha.
Sitting there with a smile on your face through the whole film is different than laughing out loud.
Yes.
I think this one brings a smile, a continuous smile. To sum it up, I gave Moe a 3 and I gave Larry and Curly 2s.
Gets a 1 for Pretty Girls. There's a few girls scattered throughout, but nobody really strikes my fancy. So my total score is a 19.
And mine is 20.
And that puts this one still, pretty good episode. Just something about it just doesn't, again, he summed it up pretty good. It's not a laugh out riot. It's a very good film. The fact that the Stooges are in it makes it very amusing,
Yeah.
and
It's well thought out and well written, I guess.
yes, that's basically the idea. Oh, the end is terrible.
Yeah.
And so this is an example of one that literally appears to end simply because it's time for it to be over and not because the writers came up with a punchline.
Right. You know what? We might even want to put on a 1, 2, or 3 how the Stooge film ends.
Well, that's where plot is supposed to come in, and that's,
Well, that's
part
why
of
it's
the
getting
reason.
to 2 and we changed it to a 3, but now I'm rethinking because we have no ending.
Oh, right. So you're right. We need to
Yes, we need
modify the plot to include the ending.
Right.
That's why the plot gets a 2. So I'm going to go back.
So my
score,
high score is 19 and,
and
his
mine is 18
Yeah.
because the plot only gets a 2 because
It can
this
only go
whole
so far
thing
and then it stops.
only results in a bad punchline. So how can you consider that to be a 3?
That's
you
right,
Can't.
you can't.
That's what the problem
That's
is.
right. Well, that's not the case with Hoi Polloi. Hoi Polloi is a perfect episode.
Right, our last review was Hoi Polloi, and if you are familiar with Hoi Polloi, you know that the end of Hoi Polloi is it's just great. It couldn't be any better. The punchline at the end of Hoi Polloi doesn't even directly involve the Stooges themselves.
Yeah, that's
I mean, they do have the last,
the last
They have the last-
slapstick gag.
yeah, they have the last slapstick gag, but
The supporting cast does
support-
the joke.
right.
So yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I guess this review is done.
Yeah. We thought this
Another
was
one
going to
of-
be very short, but it turned into a whole
Yeah,
thing.
another one of our more convoluted reviews because, again, we really enjoy the Stooges. We love the Stooges. And we want to review these, accurately and
yeah.
honestly. And we want to, and so sometimes we get a little bit confused about just, wait a minute, where do I really fall on this?
Right.
Sometimes I'm a little hard on the Stooges
And sometimes
for not delivering what I think they should, and sometimes I'm a little too easy on them. In the case of the plot for this episode, with almost overlooking the very idea that the end is so bad and so just cut, end the episode. I hate it. I hate the end of this. It's just leaves you so unsatisfied. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So how do you think the Stooges closed out the year? Oh, you know what? This was So
So are you
wait a
asking
minute.
them, not me?
No. Oh, yeah.
Definitely ask them.
All right. Wait.
But me,
So this was the
personally,
last-
I think. Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Tell me.
No, personally, I think the Stooges left 1935 with a friggin' bang. We have a lot of funny stuff going on now, and despite what we said about the ending of this one, I like this one a lot. So I'm going to say that for me, I know we don't have a scorecard for this, but Stooges left 1935 with a 3 for me.
I will agree. The last 4 or 5 shorts have been very strong, very funny, very entertaining, etc. And it's a general consensus that 1935, their second year of making films with Columbia Pictures, was a very good for them and solidified their place in entertainment history. And I'm going to have to say, I definitely agree with that legendary assessment.
Right, and I'm also going to add to that, and I think that Columbia realized that they were. How do I put this?
Dealing with a force to be reckoned with?
Right, due to the fact that this last short for 1935 had credits that we have never seen before.
Right.
The president even wanted to get in on the Stooges.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that 1935 started out terribly, dismally. Some of the earliest
Right, I
episodes
forgot.
of 1935 are some of the worst
Oh,
Three
and by
Stooges
the way-
films, period. So before we leave you, we would like to make sure that you understand that it is your duty to rate, comment, and subscribe to the Three Stooges review videos. Next time we'll be starting 1936, and we'll start it off with the ever wonderful, 1936's Ants in the Pantry.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all I have to say. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to the Three
Please.
Stooges review. We'll see you next time.